Now, I know that Game Week 33 is only just started, but if you know me, you know that doesn't stop me making some FPL content, and there's already quite a lot to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to go through players to buy and avoid ahead of Game Week 34. All right, so we're going to start off the video then by looking at the fixtures. We've got here is a fixture grid courtesy of Ben Crellin. I show this in quite a lot of my videos, to be honest, because I think any transfer decisions you're making right now, you have to do so thinking about the fixtures you've got coming up, right? A lot of managers will probably be using their free hit in Game Week 34, so I've made this video with some free hit options in mind, but I'm also considering managers who might not be on their free hit and they need to make transfer decisions kind of for the rest of the season, because we've got a potential double in 36 depending on the outcome of the FA Cup semi-finals. Teams that get to the final will obviously blank, and then their respective opponents on that FPL game week will blank as well. So we can see there, Ben's really kindly put together all the teams that have a possibility of doubling in game week 36. And then, did I say blank before? I meant double, but it also causes a blank in 37. So what he's got here is, those teams plus their odds of winning the match or their opponents winning their match in the FA Cup and subsequently having a double in 36, blank in 37. So we got Aston Villa and Tottenham two most likely, Man City and Bournemouth second most likely, and then Crystal Palace, Wolves, Forest and West Ham have a chance but are the least likely. And then got to bear in mind, all of those teams that double in 36 will blank in game week 37. And I think even if you're on your free hit, you're on your free hit, free transfers don't matter, I guess. But you need to think about how you're going to navigate that part of the game, if that makes sense, or that part of the season, because you're probably, if you're anything like me, you're going to be in a position where you own a lot of players that are going to blank in game week 37 as well. So I would consider, there's two ways you could play it basically. Save up your transfers, make sure you can deal with game week 37 through free transfers, or I guess we won't have the results come that time, but there's also an opportunity, I think, to use your free hit in 37 as well, is what I'm trying to get across, because 4 more teams will blank in game week 37. But I guess right now you know what teams are going to blank in 34. That's known. And we've probably picked players with that in mind and have a chip strategy with that in mind. But still, it's something worth thinking about, using free transfers and potentially your free hit. Okay, on to some players then. Obviously, a fantastic performance by both Wissa and Mbeumo in the Prem against Brighton in Game Week 32. Both of them looked, absolutely exceptional, really. And yeah, Brentford, we all know Brentford are good at scoring goals, and we all know that these two are fantastic as well. Between them, you can see they've scored 31 goals this season, and they're basically setting up each other for all of their goals pretty much, although they haven't got that many assists to back it up, but it seems like it. Whenever Mbeumo scores, it's a Wissa assist. And apparently whenever Wissa scores, it's an Mbeumo assist and vice versa, as I said. I really like the both of them as options. I think they'll be great for the rest of the season. Take your pick of the two, really. I think Mbeumo probably offers a little bit more because he's on penalties and he's priced, I think, accordingly. And he's scored more goals and he scores more points for goals by being classed as a midfielder. And he's got more assists as well. You can see there's only three games different. And actually, Wissa has put up more XG than Mbeumo has, so just an interesting observation there. I think you get what you pay for with both players. The only thing I would say going into Game Week 34 is they do play Nottingham Forest away from home, which is obviously one of the stronger defences in the league. So will they have much joy in that game? Maybe if you're free hitting in Game Week 34, you could potentially do better. We'll just go back to the fixtures. You've got Brentford playing Forest, teams with maybe slightly more favourable fixtures. Bournemouth against Man United, Wolves against Leicester. Who else we got? Who's playing Southampton? Immediately look to see who's playing Southampton. You've got Fulham playing Southampton. Who else we got that's got a good game? Newcastle have got Ipswich as well. So yes, and Mbeumo and Wissa, they might be really tempting on your free hit because obviously they've done really well against Brighton. I do think if you're on your free hit at least, that single game week fixture against Forest, you might be able to pick alternatives with better fixtures. But if you're not on your free hit and you're looking to bring him in as transfers, I think they're perfectly decent options. And even then, I've said you might do better than them against Forest away, which I think is a fair point. They're still decent options and they still have a chance of doing something in that game. All right, next up, Matheus Cunha. I mentioned there, alternatives to Mbeumo and Wissa, and I went through Wolves playing Leicester. I think he's a great option, not just for Game Week 34 on the blank with your free hit, I think he's a great option going forward as well. You look at those next 5 fixtures they've got, and you can't really tell me that Wolves are playing a really top defence in any of their next 5 games. Man City are probably the best one that they're playing, but I don't think anyone can convince me that Man City are a good defence this season. So I think all 5 of those games he's got coming up, he could do really well in. And we just all know what Matheus Cunha brings. I'm pretty sure when he's on the pitch, he'll be taking penalties. He's just the absolute talisman and best player. He's been fantastic for them this season. Yeah, I think he's by far, well, obviously, their best player, right? I don't really think I need to say a whole lot more than that. Back before he got his ban, and I think he was injured as well for a bit of time. Oh, it might just be the ban. But anyway, you know, he was fairly highly owned in the game. But right now, he's sits at just 6.8% ownership. Although I have a feeling that alongside probably Isak, who's got Ipswich, he's going to be one of the most, if not the most popular forward alongside Isak in the game for Gameweek 34. Because managers on their free hit can bring him in. And, you know, if you're on someone like Mateta and using free transfers, you're probably going to want to sell Mateta for Cunha anyway, because I think that Leicester at home fixture is really tempting. And Wolves, just in general, they've got a really nice run in. So yeah, Matheus Cunha looks like a really good option. Another striker who I think could be a really good option, one that's kind of dropped off the ball a little bit in recent games, but Chris Wood, he has had just an absolutely stellar season this year out. He's got Brentford at home as his fixture, and whilst I wax lyrical about Brian and Mbumo and Johan Wissa, you know, on the previous segment, they're good from an attacking perspective for Brentford, but I don't think they're very good from a defensive perspective. And again, when you look at Nottingham Forest's next 4 fixtures, I think they're all pretty good. You know, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Leicester, West Ham. I think all of those games Nottingham Forest could score in. So if you're using a free transfer to bring Chris Wood in, I think he's a good option. And likewise, if you're on your free hit and looking to buy Chris Wood, I think he's a good option. You know, Brentford are not a strong defence at all. So if you've just got laser focus on just Gameweek 34 in isolation, he's a good option. And he's also a good option if you're using a free transfer. Because those next 5 fixtures, well, that's the remainder of the season, isn't it? They're all really good. Now, I would imagine quite a lot of managers watching this video would have either considered or bought Jarrod Bowen for Gameweek 33. Even though he had a single game week fixture, it's a bit of a case of just target Southampton with him. And I think in general, there aren't really any other West Ham players that truly excite me. Maybe you could go for Nicholas Füllkrug as a massive differential. But for me, I just don't think he's done enough to prove it just yet. Whereas Jarrod Bowen, season on season, he consistently scores 10 to 15 Premier League goals for West Ham, regardless of who the manager is. Right, he's not the penalty. I think Paquetá is still the penalty taker, but I think in terms of who is the talisman, that kind of is Jarrod Bowen, really, isn't it? And I think free hit or not in Game Week 34, he's still a really good option. You know, if you're on your free hit, you're looking at that Brighton away fixture. I think that's a really good fixture, by the way. They've just conceded, 4 goals to Brentford, lost 4-2. João Pedro suspended. Then West Ham after that. I've got Tottenham, Man United. Obviously, that Forest one is a little bit tough. And then Ipswich away on Game Week 38. I think all 5 of those fixtures coming up are all right, apart from maybe that Forest one. And if you're looking at him for Game Week 34 in isolation, I think he's got a good fixture as well. So yeah, free hit, free transfers, whatever. I think Jarrod Bowen is a really good option. Now, we were a little attacker heavy in that segment there. So what I've done here is, I would imagine quite a lot of managers are using their free hit in Game Week 34. And I will have a free hit video coming out on Sunday afternoon. I want some more football to be played this week before I can fully lock in a free hit draft, because I might just end up picking players that are going to get injured. And yeah, that's not going to be good. So that's why I'm doing the buy and avoid video now, and then we'll make a free hit draft tomorrow. I thought it would be useful, though, to go through the clean sheet odds courtesy of Draft Hound, because yeah, we've just looked at all the attacking assets. But if you're looking to bring in players for Game Week 34, you're going to want to pick defenders, and you're going to want to pick defenders who have a chance of a clean sheet, right? And there are, I think, 3 outstanding teams in terms of clean sheet odds, right? You got Fulham, you got Newcastle and Wolves, and they've all got one thing in common. They're playing the bottom 3. Fulham have got Southampton away, Newcastle have got Ipswich at home, and Wolves have got Leicester at home. Oh, is there a case, right? Is there a case? Because both Wolves and Newcastle have attacking assets in the game that you'd actually want to pick, right? The likes of Harvey Barnes, Isak. Now, we all know the good Newcastle players, Jacob Murphy. Wolves have got, obviously, Cunha. Could there be a case for literally going triple Fulham defence against Southampton? Maybe going for Bern Leno, Robinson, Castagna, something like that, just with their fixture against Southampton. I think You got to pick Salah, for example, but I'm not sure I'd pick the Liverpool defence against Tottenham. I think Tottenham have a chance of scoring there. I wouldn't be, although I've bigged up the Forest defence when talking about Mbumo and Wissa, I wouldn't be massive to get Forest defenders in. So I think my defence for Game Week 34 would consist of probably in the main Fulham, Newcastle and Wolves players. Outside of that, you got Chelsea, 44% to keep a clean sheet against Everton. Brighton, 40 against West Ham. Liverpool, they're still up with 38 against Tottenham. Then you got Bournemouth and Brentford, all above 30 as well. Usually, teams above 30 in terms of clean sheet odds, I'd like to say, yeah, you can feel relatively comfortable picking defenders from. But yeah, I think if I was, well, I'm going to be free hitting. I'm going to have quite a few Fulham, Newcastle, and Wolves defenders. Finally, there were a couple of players, we talked about defences there, and there are a couple of defensive assets in FPL that I wanted to talk about. A 94th minute clean sheet wipeout for Areola. He was on my bench boost. I picked him on my wild card purely with this bench boost in Game Week 33 in mind. With him playing Southampton, I thought, oh, that's got to be a good chance for a clean sheet. I was looking at it, saw his, I think he had a 10-pointer, didn't he, at one point? I was like, yes, this clean sheet's coming in. And then the 94th minute, Southampton score. And also, we found that Wan-Bissaka didn't even start the game. I'm pretty sure there was a quote from Graham Potter saying he expects Wan-Bissaka to be fine for the game. So he trolled us a little bit there, I think. I might be wrong in picking up that quote. But yeah, a 94th minute equaliser for Southampton. What happened with just looking at my phone to check on Wan-Bissaka? He wasn't even in the squad. So yeah, he is injured. What more can you do though? Like, you go into the game with information that Wan-Bissaka is probably fit. You have Areola because he's playing Southampton and you think he's going to keep a clean sheet and they concede in the last minute. You know, both of these players, I just wanted to reassure you if you own any of them that I think it's probably a good decision to pick them in the first place. A good decision to have them in your squad for Game Week 33. It's just a really unlucky outcome in my mind. I'm not saying that as cope because I'm an Areola owner. I genuinely believe that, you know. Southampton are by far and away the team to target in the league. So why would you not target them when you're unlucky that it didn't work out, basically? All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. Like I said, this was a bit free hit heavy, I guess, this video, because I think a lot of managers are going to be using their free hit in Game Week 34, so it's only right that I talk about players I think I'd be looking to buy on my free hit. I don't think now is the time to do a free hit draft because, quite simply, we haven't had enough football this week for me to completely nail that down. I mean, based on what I've talked through there, I think you've got a fair idea of some of the players that I'm going to be picking on it. But yeah, we'll save that for tomorrow afternoon. So if you want to check out that free hit draft, of course, you can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. It should be just here on your screen. Other than that, please leave a like rating on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of some of those thoughts and opinions I've shared. And I'll catch you in my next video.